guys, welcome to Stamp of Approval. Today we're going to be working with the concentric circles die from Neat and Tangled, and I was kind of inspired by the shapes. It kind of reminds me of planets and things like that. So we're going to make kind of a galaxy background, and then we'll go from there and see how our card builds. So join me. Got our die here, so I just cut a piece of watercolor paper. This is by Strathmore, and I just wanted it big enough that I can die cut out of it. All right, so I'm just going to take my spray bottle, and I'm actually going to flip this over. I'm going to add a little tiny bit of water to the back. It'll help it stick to my craft mat here. Oh, I see we've already got some pigments on here, but that's all right. All right. I'm going to make sure that my entire paper is saturated because we're just going to kind of make our other tool today, which is Brusho. This comes in a variety of different colors, and I'm just going to have fun with, I think, this color palette. I don't think I'm going to bring in anything else. Let's get started. This one is purple. You always seem to see a little touch of purple in the galaxy aspect of space. I'm not sure why that is. Must be a specific gas. We're going to use some cobalt blue. And I am just ever so slightly tapping this. Not heavy on it at all. We're going to bring in some gamboge. Just kind of a shade of orange. A few crystals of those. These are watercolor pigments, so obviously they react with water. Oof. And we're going to use some emerald green. I may bring in another lighter blue, but let's see where this goes. Just a tinkle of those. All right. They've already started to spread because of the water that's existing on the page. But let's give them a little bit more motion here. And we're going to add some more water. I'm going to try and maybe blend out our blues a little bit more here. The emerald green is actually made of different colors of pigments. As you can see, this little corner here is made of emerald green pigments, and it has yellow and green and shades of blue, which is very cool. All right, I think I will bring in my heat tool. Once again, all four colors. Gonna add some more water. I just have stuff all scattered on my desk here, so I'm just going to pick up those crystals and those bloopies. That way I don't waste anything. Alright, I'm going to add some more gamboge, or orange color again. Love the way these don't seem to move as much as the other ones, and it also could be just because it's blending in. I love the look of the yellow. I'll take my wet paintbrush. There's a few pigments just sitting there. We'll activate those, blend those in. And then let's bring in some gray just to tone it down just a little bit. All right, I'm going to go back to my wet brush and darken in a few areas. And still see the color in behind, which is cool. It kind of looks like a galaxy to me. I think we'll leave it at that, and I'll take it with my die to my die cutter, and let's see what we can get as an end result here. All right, let's find out what she looks like. All right. Oh, even that's kind of cool. All right. That's wicked. And I like the fact that this die, it does cut all the way through, absolutely, especially in thicker watercolor papers and thicker cardstock. But I like the way that it sits everything in there, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a sticker backer to this. But before I do that, I'm going to take out the odd one, and I'm going to make them, actually I'm going to substitute them back for regular watercolor paper, and I'm going to make them look like planets. So I'm going to pop out a couple of them here. Then I'm going to add a sticker backer to the back of everything just to hold it in. And I may take one of them and make them a ring like Saturn would have. And I'm not sure where I'm going with this, so come along for the journey. So I've got my 6x6 score tape, and I've cut a piece off just large enough for our galaxy, and I'm going to hopefully not stick myself to this. And lay that down just so it holds everything in place like such. And I'm just going to go and I'm going to trim off the excess around the edges now that everything's tucked down and safe. All right, on to the next step. Okay, so I've pulled out a ring out of that one, and I figured what the heck, we're going to take inspiration from our very own galaxy. We're going to make our small circle, our half one here. We're going to make a spot for Mars. And then we're going to do Earth, which is more blue. And we'll bring in maybe some green, of course, for the land. And then we'll do Jupiter. And Jupiter actually does have rings. So I pulled off one of those. So I need a larger area to do that, and it's kind of tones of, has kind of stripes of orange and red and kind of funky things. So we're going to take inspiration from that and make some strips for putting through the die machine with our die and cutting out specific areas. Okay, so we'll set this aside so we don't get it all messed up. I brought in rose red, turquoise, and orange. I'm going to pull in a smaller brush here. I think what we'll do is just make a little pot of water on the table, and let's start with our red. So I'll move these out of the way since they're just going to go flying anyway. We'll make a small swatch of red for the red planet. our 3 planets look like. I'm actually going to go in and put a little bit more texture on our Mars here. Currently, I'm going to put on a shadow because there must have been a really big black pigment that came out. So that's what we're putting on. And I think we'll go in and put another ring on our Saturn right in there. I think it turned out kind of cool. Yeah. The one thing I am going to do is I'm going to add some flecks of white paint that's been watered down with some water, just to give it the illusion of stars as well. So let's go and do that. Just use a drop of white acrylic paint because you only need a drop. You need to water it down a touch. I'm going to mix this up a little bit to thin it out. So you still have the opacity of the white paint because obviously you want it to sit on top of the image. And we want the splatter. I always have a ratty toothbrush that I keep just specifically for doing splatters. So with this tool, take your thumb and you're going to rake it through, okay? And it tends to give a little bit better splatter. I'm going to go through again. Not too bad. Now, because that is so watered down, I'm going to add more paint. Okay, before I go too far, let's stop there, do a little tidy up, and go from there. All right, we have put our splatters on, and our planets are embedded. And I think it looks rather cool. Now we just have to figure out how we're going to make it into a final card. All right, so I have prepped my little galaxy here with my embossing buddy. So I've powdered it off because we're going to do some embossing. And it's just tucked in my MISTI here. Now, I wanted to show you this. These are a few stamps in the collection. These two are part of the Lovely Flowers, and this one is a part of the Fill in the Blank birthday stamp set. And I want to kind of mix things up because I want certain pieces of one and not others. So what I want to do is make the sentiment that says, "Sun, you're amazingly amazing." Now, I don't want the curved one because it doesn't quite fit. So I'm going to do some stamp surgery. And I'm going to use the straight "your." So it'll say, "Sun, you're amazingly amazing." And I've done the same thing to this one. Because I need them in a straight line, I need them to be apart. So I have used my scissors and cut them apart, and they very easily go back together. So it doesn't hurt your stamps at all. Mine are dirty because I use a specific kind of ink, so you'll have to excuse that. But we're going to give them a good cleaning before I use them with our clear embossing powder. My detail white. And let's give her a go. voila, a greeting. So there's still a little bit of a haze over top. So I'm going to take a paper towel with a little tiny bit of water. And I'm just going to take the haze of that anti-static tool off. All right, let's finish up this card. And voila, a masculine birthday card all ready for my son, who turns 11 in a couple of weeks. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope I've inspired you to pull out some supplies maybe you haven't played with recently and come along and create along with us. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.